Hey everybody, this is just a quick, dirty version of my opinions on the first day of E3's showcases, which is EA and of course Bethesda, which just wrapped up. So this is going to be really quick, very unedited, and just my quick thoughts here on who I thought won between the two of them. And I would have to say Bethesda, but let me run down all my thoughts on EA first. So, EA had a lot of expectations, I would say. And I really wanted to see something with Star Wars, and I really wanted to see something with Mass Effect Andromeda. And I figured, well, there's two big space things, so for sure I will get one or the other. And I'm like, Andromeda is delayed till next year, so that means they probably got actually a good start on Andromeda. So it'll be there. And it was there. But first, open up with Titanfall 2, and there's going to be a single-player campaign. And I never played the first one. It looked kind of cool. I love mechs, but I don't know. The trailers really didn't do it for me. Multiplayer looked like multiplayer, and the single-player campaign looked like they wanted you to have feelings for this robot. He's probably going to sacrifice himself to save the main guy's name, which is Jack Cooper, I think. It's some generic white person name. I assume he's white, actually. He might be a different color, so no offense, but I can't remember. But with the name, I assume he's some white dude. Whatever, looks fine, could be fun. Do not care about any of the sports, so I'm going to skip all that stuff. And then we get into Mass Effect Andromeda, and all they have is a developer diary. 2 years ago, they had a developer diary. Last year, they had a CG trailer, which was amazing. That was, capitalizing on the developer diary from the year before. So if you took that into consideration, it's like developer diary, actual trailer that this thing is real, and you would think there'd be gameplay or at least like a new trailer for it, and it was a developer diary. I just could not believe it. It was just insane to me. I mean, there was some footage in there, but barely. It was mostly like art and people working on it. It just seems really sloppy. Like, again, EA does not have things to show. I was right, though, in my prediction that they were going to have another indie thing, which was called FE. This is a new program called EA Originals, which they had a thing a long time ago called EA Partners, I believe, around like 2008. I believe Dead Space and Mirror's Edge were actually part of that. But they weren't like an indie thing. It was more like a separate developer thing. I don't know. Either way, it seems like they're rebooting it. And the game didn't really do anything for me, but it's cool that they're supporting indie developers. So that's cool. Even though the guy presenting is so tired at every press conference, every single press conference, he looks so bored. Let's see what else. And then Star Wars. So I'm like, okay, Mass Effect is, a non-show. So how about Star Wars? Nope. They're like, there's 3 Star Wars games you can play right now. There's going to be a Star Wars game in 2017, and maybe 2 in 2018. Here's some people talking about it. Here's kind of some footage. Here's like maybe 2 seconds of footage in between people talking. And it just blew my mind. I mean, this is just basically like, kind of like a leak. It's just like, oh, these things are coming. We had anything else to say? Okay, let's just move on. It kind of felt insulting. I mean, EA, this is E3. You say the developer diaries for, later on, after you've shown some footage and you want, some personal, aspect behind the people that are working on it. Not before the game comes out. You did this with Battlefront originally, and it's just, come on. The show closed out with Battlefield 1, and just barely. I mean, after that, they had some videos and gameplay reels and stuff like that for Battlefield. So, I mean, this was just basically the conference to kick it off. But, I don't know. It felt like they really didn't have anything to show, and what they wanted to show was not what people wanted. At least that's not what I wanted. I'm not sure if Mass Effect is going to be played up at the show or anything Star Wars related. I mean, they could be behind closed doors. Also, at any of the conferences like Xbox or Sony, they might have had them, save their big reveals for them, some kind of deal or something like that. So maybe it'll make more sense. But in that case, just EA felt just like nothing. I mean, usually there's a lot of long pauses and gaps in a lot of their stuff, but it just felt like not a lot happened. I mean, just so weird. So in retrospect to that, Bethesda was way better. Not only was there a lot of secrets, there was just a lot of just high quality games, but at the same time it was also kind of less impactful than a Fallout 4 because they didn't go in depth that much as they did last year. For example, the core of their show revolved around Doom and Fallout 4 being talked to death about, and that was cool. This time it seemed like they had a lot of small announcements and they kind of closed out the show with Dishonored, but let's go back in time. So it began with announcing Quake Champions and that they'd actually have something to show at QuakeCon in August, which, you know, it's kind of a nice little tease for QuakeCon because it's kind of a big deal still now today. Elder Scrolls Legends, which I thought launched last year after the press conference or something like that, but I guess it hasn't. It's been in beta and it's coming to like all mobile platforms along with PC and Mac sometime this year. If you like collectible card games, whatever, Fallout 4 had a bunch of DLC trailers and stuff like that. Not a lot of big revelations. I think a lot of that stuff was known prior to this. It just, again, kind of felt like a time filler and kind of like flexing their muscles like, yeah, Fallout 4 was a big deal last year, so here's some more stuff that you may want. And then, you know, again, I was right in predicting that there was going to be a Skyrim HD version or enhanced version for the consoles, and it's going to have mod support. So I didn't even think about that, but it looks really cool. It's coming out October 28th on the Xbox One and PS4. Pretty pumped about that, because I loved that game a lot. Arcane Studios, you know, the Dishonored people, they came out and said, hey, we split into two teams. One of us is working on the reboot of Prey, just called Prey, and it's coming out next year for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. It was kind of a cool, kind of trippy trailer. Kind of reminded me of like a Portal and Groundhog's Day thing happening, and very, very weird. Plus, like a little bit of the darkness. It was kind of odd. But yeah, I'm excited that, you know, Prey, they actually are doing something with that license, and I really like Dishonored, so I think they could do a really good job with Arcane, or with Prey. And, you know, there's some Doom DLC coming down the line for all the stuff, and the Elder Scrolls is online, is doing some stuff. The HTC Vive, which is another VR headset, which is really hard to keep track of, because there's a lot out there, and they're all different, and it's just... It's like a console war, but it's another thing. It just, VR is such a weird thing to me. I don't get it. But that's Fallout 4 is going to have support in 2017. That's fine. I can imagine that being kind of cool to play that game. If it's really, you know, really enhanced that you feel like you're in that world, which is also a little bit depressing because it's kind of a spooky and dilapidated world. And then, like I said, they closed the show with Dishonored 2. And, you know, they had some gameplay stuff along with some environmental shots, but, I don't know, it didn't, so we saw it a little bit last year with the trailer, and sometime in between, it didn't feel that impactful. So, like I said, there was a lot of announcements, nothing huge for surprises. I think Prey and Quake are the two big ones, but because they didn't spend a lot of time with it, it was kind of like, oh, okay, these things are happening, but, yeah, at least... It felt like they at least tried, and they had stuff to present, even though, you know, it's just one company. They're, you know, a little bit smaller in terms of releases, it seems, than like a big, huge thing like EA. But I think last year's show was better for Bethesda, but in terms of these two today, which is what I'm talking about, obviously, I would have to say Bethesda was better than EA. They weren't incredible. Nothing compares to what Sony had last year, but I hope tomorrow morning I will have my fires furiated or ignited, I guess is a better word, for E3 again when Microsoft takes the stage at 11 in my area. So that's it. You can check me out as always on all of my places. Read my writing at Examiner.com, where I will be going through all the press conferences, of course, and write-ups and opinions. And I have some other places where you can support me. And of course, if you're watching this, subscribe to the YouTube, and then there'll be a thing after this that tells you all kinds of other stuff you can do for me. So, I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed. See some of you later. Hey, did you know that you're watching the Reaction Examiner YouTube channel? That's me. You should subscribe. You should also subscribe and read my writing over on Examiner.com, where I write about video games. And hey, while you're at it, check out my Patreon because I want to upgrade my YouTube channel to better and brighter things. And hey, speaking of YouTube channels, check out The Misadventures of Team Sexy Pants, where me and my best gal pal Matilda talk about putting things in the holes. It's a comedy sex podcast for the ages. I have a lot of other links as well, but you should go in the description notes below and you'll find all that cool stuff. For now, I'm just going to sit here a little bit longer while you decide what to click on. Subscribe.